Hello, and welcome to our journey through time as we explore the fascinating history behind the philosophy of making our days count. Throughout human existence, people have grappled with the fleeting nature of time and the desire to live meaningfully. The concept of seizing each day and making it worthwhile has roots that stretch back through millennia of human civilization. This universal yearning to matter, to leave a mark on the world before our time runs out, has manifested differently across cultures and eras, from ancient philosophical traditions to modern psychological insights. Humans have continuously searched for ways to make their limited time on Earth count. Tonight, we'll explore how different civilizations and remarkable individuals throughout history have approached this fundamental question of human existence. The phrase, "make our days count," embodies a timeless wisdom that has echoed through the corridors of history in various forms. In ancient Rome, the poet Horace popularized the phrase "carpe diem," which translates to "seize the day," encouraging people to embrace the present moment rather than worrying about the uncertain future. This sentiment resonated deeply with the Romans, who lived in tumultuous times of political upheaval and frequent warfare. The Stoic philosophers of this era, including Seneca and Marcus Aurelius, further developed these ideas about time consciousness. Seneca famously wrote that, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it," highlighting how our perception of time influences how meaningfully we live. These ancient thinkers recognized that time was the most precious and non-renewable resource available to humans, a concept that would be rediscovered and reinterpreted throughout subsequent ages. Eastern philosophical traditions approached the concept of making days count through different but complementary perspectives. In ancient China, Confucian teachings emphasized that a meaningful life came through fulfilling one's responsibilities to family and society with diligence and integrity. Each day presented opportunities to cultivate virtue and contribute to social harmony. Meanwhile, Taoist philosophy encouraged people to align themselves with natural rhythms and find meaning through simplicity and balance. In Japan, the Buddhist concept of Ichigo Ichie, which translates roughly to one time, one meeting, taught that each moment is a unique treasure that will never come again. This mindset encouraged people to be fully present and appreciative of everyday experiences, from sharing tea with friends to observing seasonal changes in nature. These Eastern approaches emphasized that making days count wasn't necessarily about grand achievements, but about bringing full awareness and appreciation to ordinary moments. Medieval European society viewed making days count through a distinctly religious lens, with Christian teachings emphasizing preparation for the afterlife. The concept of memento mori, or remember that you will die, was not meant to be morbid, but served as a reminder to live virtuously. Elaborate hourglasses and mechanical clocks became increasingly common in this period, not just as technological innovations, but as physical reminders of time's passage. The Black Death pandemic of the 14th century, which wiped out roughly 1/3 of Europe's population, dramatically shifted perspectives on mortality and meaningful living. Those who survived often abandoned previous social constraints to pursue more authentic and purposeful lives, recognizing how quickly everything could change. This period saw increased emphasis on recording personal histories, creating art, and leaving legacies that would outlast individual lives, as people sought to make their brief time on Earth meaningful in the face of such dramatic uncertainty. The Renaissance and Enlightenment periods brought new perspectives on making life count, with humanism celebrating human potential and encouraging people to develop their talents fully. Figures like Leonardo da Vinci embodied this spirit, pursuing knowledge across multiple disciplines and seeking to make contributions that would benefit humanity. Benjamin Franklin famously scheduled his days meticulously, writing that, "Dost thou love life? Then do not squander time, for that's the stuff life is made of." The Industrial Revolution fundamentally changed humanity's relationship with time, as mechanized production and the standardization of work hours created new tensions between productivity and meaningful living. As we enter the modern era, we see how these historical threads have woven together to shape contemporary understandings of making our days count, from psychological research on flow states and happiness to technological tools for time management. Throughout all these historical developments, the fundamental human desire to live with purpose and meaning has remained constant, even as expressions of that desire have evolved. As societies industrialized and modernized, new challenges to making days count emerged alongside new opportunities. The invention of electric lighting extended productive hours beyond natural daylight, while factory whistles and punch clocks standardized time in unprecedented ways. Workers in these environments often struggled to find meaning in repetitive tasks, leading reformers like Robert Owen to advocate for the 8-hour workday, famously promoting 8 hours labor, 8 hours recreation, 8 hours rest. The concept of leisure time became increasingly important as people sought balance in their lives. The Victorian era saw the rise of self-improvement movements and productivity guides, with Samuel Smiles' influential book, Self-Help, encouraging people to make the most of every moment through discipline and perseverance. As transportation technologies improved, travel became more accessible, allowing people to expand their horizons and collect meaningful experiences rather than just material possessions. During the tumultuous early 20th century, world wars and economic depression forced many to reconsider what truly mattered in life. Veterans returning from combat often reported profound shifts in priorities, with many embracing philosophies that emphasized living authentically in the moment. Existentialist philosophers like Jean-Paul Sartre and Albert Camus responded to these global traumas by arguing that in an apparently meaningless universe, humans must create their own meaning through conscious choices and actions. Viktor Frankl, having survived Nazi concentration camps, developed logotherapy based on his observation that those who maintained a sense of purpose were more likely to survive extreme hardship. His famous quote, "Between stimulus and response, there is a space, and in that space is our power to choose our response," encapsulated the idea that meaning comes through how we respond to circumstances, not the circumstances themselves. These perspectives emerged directly from some of humanity's darkest hours, demonstrating how crisis often catalyzes deeper reflection on what makes our days truly count. The post-war economic boom of the 1950s and 60s brought material prosperity to many, but also sparked questions about whether consumer culture could provide genuine fulfillment. Countercultural movements emerged, challenging conventional notions of success and advocating for alternative lifestyles focused on authentic experience rather than material acquisition. Psychologist Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs suggested that once basic requirements were met, humans naturally sought self-actualization and transcendent experiences. Meanwhile, advances in medical science extended average lifespans dramatically, giving people more years, but also raising questions about quality versus quantity of time. The hospice movement, pioneered by Dame Cicely Saunders, brought attention to end-of-life care and the importance of making final days meaningful. Studies of the dying consistently showed that people rarely regretted working too little or accumulating too few possessions, but often regretted not spending more time with loved ones or pursuing personal passions. The digital revolution of recent decades has transformed our relationship with time in ways that previous generations could hardly imagine. Smartphones and internet connectivity have blurred boundaries between work and personal time, creating new challenges for those seeking to live intentionally. Productivity apps and time management systems have become multi-billion-dollar industries, reflecting widespread anxiety about making the most of limited time. Paradoxically, many people report feeling more time-starved, despite having more labor-saving devices than any previous generation. The concept of time affluence, having enough time to do what matters most, has emerged as an alternative measure of success to financial wealth. Research in positive psychology has identified that experiences generally provide more lasting happiness than material possessions, leading many to prioritize creating memories over accumulating things. The mindfulness movement, drawing on ancient meditation practices but adapted for secular contexts, has gained mainstream popularity as people seek to be more present and intentional with their time. As we reflect on this historical journey through humanity's quest to make our days count, certain patterns emerge across cultures and eras. The tension between achievement and enjoyment, between leaving a legacy and savoring the present moment, appears as a constant theme in how humans approach time. Digital detoxes and slow living movements represent contemporary responses to technological acceleration, just as previous generations developed their own adaptations to industrial time. What's particularly striking is how circular these insights often are, with modern science now confirming wisdom that ancient philosophers intuited thousands of years ago. Research on deathbed regrets shows remarkable consistency across cultures and time periods, suggesting fundamental human values transcend specific historical contexts. Perhaps the most important historical lesson about making our days count comes from observing how quickly cultural assumptions about the good life shift, while core human needs for connection, meaning, and purpose remain relatively stable. As we face unprecedented global challenges in the coming decades, this historical perspective offers valuable guidance. By understanding how previous generations navigated questions of meaningful living, we gain insights that can help us make wiser choices about how we invest our own precious